Welcome to Caliente Topics. My name is Veronica from MNMTaxman.com, and I'm with Patrick Russell,
Good morning.
from MNMTaxman.com. And if you guys remember, on the last webcast that we did, we actually went over the purchases and the receipts that we need to make sure that in case you get audited, you have every single piece of the puzzle. Patrick?
Absolutely. So today we're going to extend the conversation just a little bit to petty cash, cash on hand. Anybody that's bought the QuickBooks financial software, they'll know that as part of the template accounts, the ones that are always there by default, is a petty cash register. And the reason why is because most businesses will have that little black box where they have simple cash there that they've picked up from sales, but then they keep it on hands for small purchases, whether it be office supplies, maybe an office party, general supplies for the store, small things, de minimis. Now that's a word that we usually bring up when it comes to, well, how much backup information and receipts do I need for the small purchases? And de minimis is the word that you use to describe, well, it just depends on how small or big your operation is that we're talking about. If we're talking about a small store that usually has anywhere between $500 to $1,000 worth of cash on hand transactions for the entire year, that, my friend, is de minimis, right? But now if you're talking about let's say a scrap metal business that may have tens of thousands of dollars in inventory, and they're trying to say that cash on hand is what pays for half of it. Now you've exceeded whether or not it's material enough for you to have to track it down and keep the receipts based on it, right? Because, of course, the IRS would be looking at all of the biggest items that you may have on your tax returns, and those are going to be the ones that they're going to choose the beginning in order to audit and take a look at through an examination.
So in that case, when a business is dealing with cash and they make purchases where obviously and I say obviously because we're dealing with a cash business in this tax
scenario,
what is it that they have to have in order for them to prove that they pay something in cash and obviously makes sense at the time of an audit if it comes?
It's that petty cash journal that you really have to maintain and be mindful that it needs to be up to date. Now more than ever, because payment options have really narrowed down the presence of true hard cash in any operation, the IRS isn't going to accept the small housekeeping duty of keeping a simple journal of what cash residual sales you may still have on hand for the small and de minimis purchases that you might make throughout the year. Now, if you know that you've exceeded the threshold of a de minimis transaction and activity, then you have to understand the burden of proof now rests on your shoulders even heavier than it was before. Why? Because bank statements and credit card statements are laid out for you in full. You've got the date, you've got the store or the vendor, you've got the amount. Pretty much the only thing that you don't have with the actual bank statements is the breakdown of individual items that may have been purchased. Yeah. But that only really plays a big part if it's for a store that you may have some personal nature activity, Costco, Walmart. But if you're a plumber and you've got plumbing ABC parts as your only line item, you don't have much to worry about. And so what does that leave? ATM transactions? How many times do you go to the ATM? Not very often.
Not now, especially.
How often do you go to the bank counter to take a $5,000, $7,000, or an $8,000 withdrawal? It doesn't happen very often. And so now the burden of proof on cash transactions, believe it or not, is heavier now than it was in the past, simply because there's just nowhere in your financial landscape that hasn't already been accounted for.
So what you're saying, what we recommend is for someone to obviously pay as much as they can with the credit card.
Absolutely.
To keep track of their expenses and
True.
not to have to go back and forth with, going to the bank, withdraw
Cash.
money and then paying.
You know, it's a message that we've been hammering home starting from the last 4 or 5 years ago, and it's something that's going to be transitioning to happenstance completely, whether you want it or not. Cash is going to be removed from the equations. You might as well invest the time and resources to get those non-cash payment resources that are available. Venmo, Cash, Apple
Pay.
I mean, there's so many different ones out there now.
I forgot the last time I actually paid with cash.
And the reality is that even though your small operation or your medium-sized operation may still be cash heavy, you're the only one. And that's the problem. The IRS or the agent that's looking at you isn't going to come with you with an open mind like, oh, well, he operates in cash. He's the one left. No. You will not be operating your audit or exam in a vacuum. They're going to bring their experience of the industry, your industry, to bear. And trust me, if there's no cash in the industry left, they're not going to believe there's cash left in your business. So that's something to be mindful.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
I know you like to go over this so you can share it with clients, but let's save it for tomorrow. Thank
Very
you,
good.
guys. Please subscribe, share, like.
Absolutely, guys. Please, to get a quick answer for a question that you might have, use the comment box below. Subscribe to the channel. We'll be giving pro bono tax advice throughout the year, every day, right? So thank you, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.